Welcome to A Word from the Word for October 26th. Today's Bible reading, 2 Timothy chapter 2. Today's key verse. And the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome, but kind to everyone, able to teach, patiently enduring evil, correcting his opponents with gentleness. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verses 24 to 25. Today's word from the Word. Salted speech, gentle tone.
The servant of the Lord isn't called to win arguments, but to win hearts. In today's verse, Paul reminds us that God's servant must not be argumentative, but a gentle listener and a teacher who keeps cool, working firmly but patiently with those who refuse to obey. God works far more powerfully through a tender heart and a loving embrace than through a sharp tongue. Proverbs 15:1 says it best, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." Boom. That's wisdom. That's biblical insight revealed. Paul penned this letter near the end of his life, passing the baton to his young disciple Timothy, who was ministering in a culture that was, let's be honest, divided, hostile, and full of controversial opinions. People were twisting truth and stirring up drama. But instead of telling Timothy to fight fire with fire, as if more flames ever stopped a blaze, Paul urged him to respond with grace and gentleness. The Greek word for gentleness, 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗘𝗖𝗛, paints a vivid picture, power under control, like a mighty stallion guided by a gentle tug on the reins. Timothy was to teach truth boldly, but with kindness, trusting that only God could spark true repentance. Fast forward to today, and believers face similar headwinds: social media skirmishes, workplace tension, and cultural pushback against biblical values. Yet Paul's wisdom still rings true. Our tone matters just as much as our truth. We're not called to crush opponents, we're called to reflect Christ. It has been said, grace without truth deceives people and ceases to be grace. But truth without grace crushes people and ceases to be truth. Colossians 4:6 says, "Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person." When we respond with gentleness, we mirror Jesus himself, who welcomes sinners with compassion and corrects error with kindness and love. There's a story of a man who argued with his neighbor for years about the gospel. Then one day, when the neighbor was facing a difficult time, instead of debating, he simply brought over a warm casserole. The neighbor said, "You've preached more with this casserole than with all your debates." And that, my friend, is the idea. This does not mean we are to remain silent or keep from countering falsehoods. As Peter urges us, always be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. 1 Peter 3:15. Just remember to do it with gentleness and respect. Kindness cracks open doors that logic and clever arguments just can't budge. So ask God to give you a spirit of gentleness that melts hostility. When provoked, pause before replying. When corrected, listen before defending. When teaching truth, speak it drenched in grace. You might be amazed at how God softens hearts through your patience. You never know when he'll flip the switch, and you'll get to witness someone turning toward the truth. May the Lord clothe you with kindness, temper your zeal with gentleness, and saturate your words with grace. May your life shout louder than any argument, and may those around you see the radiant beauty of Jesus in both your truth and your tone.